We would like to call the special meeting of June 2nd to order. We have two items. Number one is to amend the Deputy Finance Director position title to Interim Finance Director and add to the description training and oversight from Post-Smythe Lutz and Zeal, which is PCLZ, contingent upon a budget amendment. Motion Eldridge. Support Peterson. Discussion?
Is this the time that we would talk about the training and the salary?
Yeah.
The range?
Yeah, the actual job description is attached, and the three full-time officials met. After the last meeting, we received an email from our Post-Smythe Lutz and Zeal, which is our auditor, and in order to provide services to help with in-person training and to make sure that we adhere to the state laws, she has presented $60,000 in order to do that, to help in the transition with the retirement of Giovanna. And so we're bringing that back to the board in order for that to happen. There was a couple changes which was recommended. The actual title is Interim Finance Director. And then we added that Post-Smythe Lutz and Zeal will assist in the training of the interim finance director through the end of the year, and then as needed going forward. This would entail being available as resources on accounting and technical matters on a day-to-day basis, including being on site weekly or more if needed. The goal is to provide guidance on matters relating to the accounting department and to provide oversight so that all the deadlines in that department are met. This assistance would be temporary and allow for the proper training and sharing of expertise with township staff. This is an internal posting. The work performance will be evaluated by Post-Smythe Lutz and Zeal through established schedules as well as a review of final reports and audit outcomes. And that was one area that we added to the job description, and let's see. Then, because it was at the previous one, it had it at $78,000 salary. We added to this interim finance director. It was approved at $90,000 on 5/19. So we added that to this posting. And I do know Raina is here. Did you have any other questions, Stan, about?
Just the salary range. I know that maybe I didn't understand it quite before like I did, but can we just go over that salary range that had been mentioned before? I know it's 90 now, but there was discussion last time of 78 to 90.
The previous.
Right, I think some of the other people on the board had questions as well.
Yes, I was not, I like you did not have all of the information to make my decision, and now that I do have the information, I would like to reconsider the position I took.
As a salary, as a what, I'm sorry?
For the salary range?
Oh, okay. All right. So there was a motion support, that would be a friendly amendment to make it a range?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, can you repeat that last one?
We would need yeah, because there was a motion and support to approve it as presented. If you want to make it a range, then Treasurer Eldridge and Trustee Newman. Is that what I?
Madam Chair, I don't think I understood Trustee Newman's consideration. I think what he wanted to do, he made a decision last time and he wanted to change it.
Yes.
But I didn't hear Trustee Newman say the range.
Yeah, he just said it.
What did you say, John?
78 to 90.
Yes.
78 to 90?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. But again, Madam Chair, one more thing. So, but yet, the language is saying 60,000. Is that correct?
I'm sorry.
Our motion was 60,000. Isn't that correct? For the intern?
We're amending the.
For the support services from the auditors.
That's in the budget amendment.
Okay.
That's item number 2. Right now, we amended the position title that was suggested at the last meeting from a deputy
Okay.
finance director to a
Intern.
interim.
Yes, interim.
So that was
What
one
are
change.
you-
And
What are you
then,
saying about the salary, yes?
and the other change was to add post Smythe, Lutz, and Zeal to oversee it and put it into the job description before we post it, which was another good suggestion, I thought. And then the only thing different is the one that was at the board meeting on 5/19, it was $78,000 salary, and the board voted to change it to 90. And those are the only three changes.
Okay, so nobody, but only one was John made a suggestion.
And, yeah, and Stan,
And then,
yes.
Trustee.
So if it's a friendly amendment, the motion was made by Treasurer Eldridge, and can two people make a friendly amendment, or is it just one person?
And supported by Peterson.
Yeah, so my question is, can you do a friendly amendment when you're the moving person? 'Cause- Sorry. If you moved the original item, which Treasurer Eldridge did, can he also do the friendly amendment for something he moved? Does that matter, or I'm not sure about that part?
yeah,
You can withdraw the friendly amendment and make the motion.
right, because you can't do it that way. Now, John could do a
So
friendly
the
amendment.
motion was Eldridge, and it was supported by Peterson. So would you like to make the motion to include the range? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
So to approve the amended deputy finance director position with a range.
So do we have to vote on it? See, he withdraws it.
He withdrew it,
Okay.
so he's remaking it.
Does Peterson have to agree to the withdrawal or no?
Yes.
On the consideration, again, please state, is he coming back with a range? Okay, I accept that. He's going to come back with a range, another motion with a range.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So that motion is withdrawn. So if you want to make a motion with including the range, that needs to occur.
So I then move 78 to 90 for a range.
So this motion.
Was withdrawn.
But he's moving this motion to include a
To-
range.
yes, yes.
78 to 90.
90, yes. So motion Eldridge,
Support?
support Newman. Would you like, Raina Emmons is here, would you like to go over anything? You heard what we said, was it pretty clear on what your roles or responsibility is? The auditors to help and, yeah, if you want. I know last time they asked if you were here and you weren't, and that was my fault. So you're here this time. If the board has any questions from Post Mike Lutz and Zeal, who will oversee the day-to-day training.
Hello, nice to see everyone. We have an unusual circumstance. The township did, as you know, you've gone through the procedures, you've posted externally, you have a retiring, valuable employee here and department head. It's not so easy to just replace her. So, and we have a timeline because we have a date now of retirement. And this isn't a type of position that you can just let it go or keep it open there are responsibilities daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. So it's very important to get this position filled. And there is a certain level of expertise that a person needs. We happen to have, so we went external. We got very, very little feedback, and the resumes that you did get, I actually know those people, and I could not recommend them to you. We have a great candidate internally, and as well as you could post it internally. And then look at what you have from there. I think we have some talent here that with a little encouragement, a little backup, we can make this work. And to me, one of the really important things in the township offices is that you have a good fit, personality-wise, as well as your technical abilities. We can't have a bull in a china shop situation. We have wonderful staff and department heads here. We like to keep it that way. So we have someone with a good fit. We have a few people probably with that good fit. So with that, I guess, I'm here for support for your staff, for department heads, for the board. In the past, you haven't needed my services so much other than the audit because we had top-notch, people here. Some of that expertise just happens to be walking out the door. So you might need a little help for a minute. It's not meant to be a permanent thing. It's meant to be very temporary and as little or as much as you need. That's why I was very comfortable capping. That's my maximum not to exceed, just in case something happened where I needed to be here a whole lot more than we anticipate. So don't be scared by that. We don't have any track record here with, big bills to the township. So with that, is anything specific I can answer?
Any questions? Yes, Treasurer Eldridge.
Raina, I just, I see that they're going to, whoever gets the spot will meet with you and have guidance and meet with us. I'm not sure what the right word is, but will there be a certain benchmarks or measurements that we know that everything is proceeding? Are there professional standards or a template that you would use to check off? Yes, yes, yes.
So that's a difficult thing to do, a template. I do have a lot of expertise in training people. People pick up things at a different pace.
Right.
So as far as like having a weekly, monthly checklist, I couldn't tell you that there really even is such a thing. However, I can communicate with Debbie, with Brenda, with your office. I mean, we're going to all have to work together anyway, just because the accounting department really feeds in from all the different departments. So part of my plan is to make sure we have very good communication. I want you up to date on if things are working, if things are not working, if we're lacking somewhere, or if we're doing great and things are taking off and faster than we expected. So you're going to get that kind of feedback. That's what I can provide to you.
Okay, I only asked because I was concerned that whether it goes good, bad, or indifferent, that somebody wouldn't say, well, that was just a subjective opinion of a person or two rather than an objective list to follow or criteria. That's the only reason I ask. Trying to make sure I protect the township down the road.
Like during the probationary period, I think is what.
And so what are you considering to be the probationary period? 6 months? Is that? So, there are things that only happen on a semi-annual or even annual basis, things like the budget. You really need not that I need to be here a full year, at top capacity, but there's going to be things that happen in that 12-month cycle that, whoever's in that position is not going to see for a while. So as far as a 6 months probationary period, I mean, you can, well, I certainly can tell. I've worked with a lot of different people in these positions, and whether they're taking to it slowly, quickly, slowly. If they're being accurate, they're being careful. They are actually learning things. You don't have to teach them a second time. They're retaining the knowledge. Those are things that everyone learns at a different pace. So, and I think it does take a full year to full cycle so that you can hit all the things that things like getting ready for the audit. Only happens once a year. But that involves tie out of, all the accounts as on a 12-month basis. So your tax collection, we have unique things with the court. We have, we have kind of one of everything here.
Madam Chair?
Yes, trustee.
Yes, ma'am. I understand now the $60,000 for your services, and you just answered my question, really. I was going to ask, how long would that service, how long will it take to train this intern? So I believe you said a year. Is that correct?
I think
For the 60,000?
Well, I think that there'll be more upfront and less as time goes on. However, of course, if we need a little more time, then I'm willing to spend that time.
Okay. With your knowledge, with an intern, and because the motion was between, 78 to 90,000, is that a reasonable, what would be a reasonable range within the 78,000 to 90,000?
I think
As
that's
far as salary.
Right, I think that's a good range. And I
I'm
think it
saying,
depends on the person. It depends on the
Who would make
candidate.
that decision, Brenda? Between 70,000, let's say you decide 80,000 or 80,000 for this intern. But I'm asking her for someone who's just coming in, and she's going to be trained, which is great. I'm glad it's somebody in service. If nobody was qualified to do it out service. But what would the range, with that type of experience, you being an auditor and you have seen them all come in and they don't have all the experience, what would the range be between 78,000 and 90? Are you saying a good range for pay would be 79, 80,000?
Well, if you did something like in the, say, low 80s, 80 to 83, and after a year, I mean, you're going to have, we are going to have benchmarks. They may not be on a checklist, but we will definitely have benchmarks. And at some point, you want that interim part of the title, that's ideally, we want that to go away. So when the person's ready for that. And if that's, in 6 months or that's a year, then it might be appropriate if you're changing the title. It might be the appropriate time to up the salary at that point. But that respectfully is your call at that point.
That's what I want to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Trustee Rowe?
Serena, good to see you.
Nice to see you too, Karen.
I have a question.
General question.
Do you have a question?
Not for Raina. Mm-mm.
Okay. How often will you be here to train the person? Is it like 5 days a week or 3 days a week? And I know as time goes on, it's less and less. But to start out, how many days a week are we talking?
I would probably say 2 days a week. And, with the miracle of technology, you're between cell phone, email,
Okay.
We're pretty much always available. But as far as on-site, and I'm a believer in on-site. There's just something intangible about that
I agree.
we can't replace. And, there's something about, maybe I don't know how the board wants something to go. I wander downstairs and, into one of the administrative officials' offices and say, how do you want this to go? Left or right, or, what do you think the board's preference would be, kind of thing. But informally, of course. But so I guess I would start out with 2 days at the beginning, how fast that ratchets down to 1 day, or if it goes up. I can be here, but not necessarily charging the township for that. I could use kind of a mobile office type situation to physically be here and be available for questions. So that's what we have to get a handle on as far as like how much do I physically need to be here? But again, I'm a big believer in being on site. I think we start with 2 days a week and kind of get a feel for it.
Okay. So the other 3 days, you practicing what you learned on the 2 days? The intern person would.
So we know what the,
Yeah.
week looks like, and it may not be 2 consecutive days. It might be better to do, like a Monday, Thursday, so it's not like that many consecutive days with,
Yeah.
But again, you do have people here that have a lot of familiarity with both how, we're not bringing someone from the outside necessarily that doesn't, so you could have someone that comes from, say, the banking world. They don't really know they know numbers, they don't know the municipal side. They might know numbers, but not the accounting side. So, having people internally here that have that familiarity, I think is going to be a huge benefit.
Okay.
And I think we do something similar with planning, our planning contract, where they're here now 1 day a week in person, just to assist, and because we're so busy in the planning department, but,
Okay.
and when we had vacancies, so we contract for services for the planning to help as well. So it's similar to that, and she's always available. That's what I like about it. And when we post it internally, it depends on, of course, the qualifications for the people who apply. Because there could be more than one person apply. Trustee Rowe, did you have?
Yeah, just, I can make a comment, and then I'll ask my question. I know, just historically, even as Raina said, we've had people that came from the banking industry, very, very talented, very smart, but it took a lot of backup to train them in all the different rules and laws and statutes that cover the financial world in the township, which is different, and the software, which was different. And I think I've been through maybe three accounting directors, and every single one of them, they're all different, but like she said, it all depends on how fast they pick up on the new stuff and their background and where they come from and stuff, but it always was, they always need help. My question is, the motion was made for the interim finance director, exactly how it's presented in our packet, but the only change was the salary at the end. And
Salary range.
And we're doing a salary range. Now, when we put that up, I know Raina mentioned that, maybe you'd offer 82 or 83 or something. That'll depend on who bids on it, and a decision will be made whether it's going to be 80, 78, or whether it's going to be.
It's like we do out external
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
candidates.
that
We do
was.
the same.
Yeah.
We do the same thing. We have a salary range based on
And
experience.
how long is it going to be up for? Because I know we're in a hurry.
And then I think Giovanna's June 30th, so she'll be here
Okay.
at least a couple weeks too during the interim time.
All right, thank you.
We have a motion and Clerk Swanson?
So after listening to this discussion, I guess, I don't know if I call it a concern, or it seems like the idea of cycling through a whole year is really important. I heard like probationary for 6 months. I am concerned that since we know there's a lot to learn, and learning is tied to that yearly cycle, like what would happen? Because it would be nice to have support through the whole year cycle. So this says 6 months, but I would want to just say that I think it's important that we would have the ability to continue that support, because just to know the comfort level, and to really know how some performance happens in every single thing that might happen
And we could do
across
that
the year.
in the next budget, if that would be okay with the board? Like, we'll actually put, this line item isn't going to be.
And we'll know a whole lot more at that point, what we're talking about. It might be just very little as far as, it might be very specific as far as the types of support at that point, not necessarily a weekly basis at that point.
All right. Yes.
6 months will take you through everything but the audit, right? Your end of year closeout.
Correct.
Yeah, so you'll have a really good sense of whether the person's, where they're at and whether they need more help or whether they're gonna.
Well, the audit's pretty important,
No,
so.
I'm just saying.
Thank you, Brenda.
And if we close the books December 31st and don't wrap up sometimes until.
Well, January's a big
March is
month
when we
here,
start.
as I think.
I'm saying, in January, you're gonna know, we'll be wrapping up everything for the end of the year, and then you're gonna get the audit, and then you do the audit, right? 6 months, you're gonna know whether this person's gonna cut it or not, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
They may still need help, but you're gonna know.
Right, and we're not going to disappear on you regardless, so, we can talk about that at a later point, but I think Brenda was concerned about the next, getting through December 31st, and, looking at the budget you're in currently, just to make sure that you have the capacity to do it the right way.
So just so I'm clear.
We'll add it, Clerk Swanson, we can put professional services in the 2027 budget as well,
Oh,
to
just,
protect ourselves.
just so I'm clear, the 60,000 covers one full year,
6 months.
6 months?
Not to exceed, though. It's not it's not, it's not a set cost. It's basically an hourly, but, for as much or little as you're going to need.
And like Trustee Swanson said, a cycle covers a whole year, so I guess we'll budget for the
Yes.
next year. Okay,
Just to make sure.
all right.
Other thing. So the only other thing that I would hope happens is because we're transitioning from someone who's been in a position for a while to, this happens all the time in the township, we transition from people with experience to people without experience, how important it is to have things written down, like in a format that says, kind of a baseline of like how things are done. So I would hope that that'd be part of what the work could be as you're helping train somebody. I know it can't be written in stone, but some kind of guidelines in writing about how things get done is really helpful because you just never know, and having a base to start from. So I would encourage that to be part of the work as you're training, as people are learning, to be writing down how things are done in Ypsi Township. Can be electronic or whatever, just so that there is some kind of a blueprint to use.
And I believe Ms. Neal has a lot of procedures written down in manuals, that type of thing. She's done a really nice job with, all kinds of things, even above and beyond the daily, policies, procedures, that type of thing. But, getting into even more like financial analysis and that, cash management, debt management, that type of thing. So some of these are requirements by the federal government, which you've seen some federal dollars. We don't know if there's going to be more coming, at some point in the future. So, she wanted you to be ready to be able to utilize those funds if they come at you. So we do have a good baseline. I also think it's a good opportunity to kind of look at some of your procedures, like how you're doing things on a regular basis. Maybe there's a more efficient way to do it. And I'm not saying that we're doing anything inefficiently. I'm just saying it's kind of like have a fresh set of eyes look at it. And I mean, I come in for the audit, but I'm not looking at the day-to-day, who does what and, the processes, but not the physical, this person hands off to this person, and then it goes through this, and we're doing this manually, or we're doing, those type of things. It might be a good opportunity. And again, everything I do is proprietary to the township. So it's your information. It's all your, your product. Anytime we're redoing or writing down procedures, I want that to stay with the township and, and the township benefit from that.
All right.
I'm trying to work my way out of a job, as far as the training goes.
And you do it in other communities?
Yes. Actually, it seems to be it's a growing trend. I mean, some of the big firms are even getting out of auditing completely and going into consulting. And that's what they're doing is training. So, but they don't have the incentive to move themselves out of the job when they've got a consulting contract. This is not that.
Thank you. So we have a motion in support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Budget number 9. Clerk Swanson? Did you want someone move it?
Motion to amend the 2026 budget number 9. Move to increase the general fund budget by $60,000 to $12,927,704 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. So moved.
Motion Swanson? Support Rowe. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.